Hi all, welcome back. Today in this session, let's discuss about the balance sheet. And what is a balance sheet? What information or sections provided in the balance sheet by a company? Examples of a balance sheet. Going through each section in the balance sheet from that example, and why it is important, and what analysis we can get out of that balance sheet, and finally limitations. So basically, what is a balance sheet means? It is one of the financial statements released by every company on a quarterly basis and annually basis. So this balance sheet is considered as a snapshot of a company that owns and what it owes. That means that means a balance sheet reports a company's assets, liabilities, and shareholders' equity at any specific point of time. Okay, so let me add here. So this statement uh, provides information about the assets, liabilities, and shareholders' equity of a company or organization. Okay, so and the most important point here is the information that we get from the balance sheet is a snapshot. That means it is mainly given at the specific time of the day, specific time or date. That means generally assume that if any company releases the balance sheet on 31st of the March. Okay, assume that on 31st March, if any company releases balance sheet, then immediately on 1st April, there may be changes in the sheet. There may be changes in the data in the balance sheet. So every day there will be chances of varying the information. So that's the reason. So whenever any company releases the balance sheet statement, they mention the date also. That is on that particular date, the uh, financial status of the company will be given in the balance sheet, which includes assets, liabilities, and shareholders' equity. So, uh, so now here, let us go to what is an asset here. Okay, so if you are new to this financial statements and financial accounting environment, so let me give you a basic information like what is an asset. So asset is simply, in simple terms, we can say that companies, buildings, okay, buildings, properties, whatever it has, machineries, okay. So like that, etc., etc., which are the assets of the company. And what are liabilities? Liabilities in simple terms, okay, this is also to say very simply, we can say the amount or money which company pays as a salary, or bills it has to pay to its customers, or interest amount, we can say interest amount which on which they are taken the loan. So every company will be having some loans, right? So that interest amount will also be considered as under liabilities. So which means assets in the sense which generates the money for the company, and liabilities means it refers to the money which is company paying to other parties, I can say. Okay. And what is the shareholding equity? Shareholders equity. So in simple terms here, we can say like a company raises the amount from selling the stocks, and those who bought the stocks will be shareholders of the company. Okay, so you understood, right? So assets is companies, buildings, properties, machineries, etc. Liabilities like the amount which or money which company pays to other parties, and shareholders equity, company which raises this amount. Sometimes they raise the amount from the uh, shareholders by releasing the stocks or by selling the stocks. So in balance sheet, every company will provide the information about the assets, liabilities, and shareholders. So this is what the information we can get from the balance sheet. Okay, so uh, let me give you one example here. Okay, assume that ABC company, okay, there is a company ABC. If it takes 1 lakh rupees as a loan amount for 5 years, okay, then this 1 lakh will be denoted in the assets, and same 1 lakh amount will be added in the liability as a long-term loan, long-term debt, in fact. Okay, so what it is happening here? So when a company, if it takes 1 lakh rupee loan amount for 5 years, then this 1 lakh will be coming under assets, and also the same amount of 1 lakh will be added as a liability as a long-term debt. Okay. Similarly, if it takes, okay, let me tell you another case, like if it takes or if it raises, okay, if the same company raises 1 lakh rupees from the shareholders instead of loan. If they raise this amount from the shareholders by selling this stock, then this 1 lakh will be denoted as asset as same as here. But now this 1 lakh rupee will be added under shareholders equity. Okay. the shareholders has raised the amount for the company. Okay. So what exactly happening here? What exactly balance sheet is doing here is, as per the accounting calculation, every time balance sheet should be in such a way that assets are one side and liabilities and shareholders equity in other side. So that means assets, total assets should always equal to total liability plus shareholders equity. And okay, so balance sheet will always make sure that the statement that it is denoting or it is providing, it should always make sure that it is balancing the total value of assets equal total value of liability plus shareholders. That's the reason when ABC company, if it is taking 1 lakh rupees as a loan amount for 5 years, 1 lakh is getting added at total assets and also 1 lakh is getting added as a liability. So it is balancing on both the sides. So 1 lakh is added here as an asset and 1 lakh is added as a liability. And if it is taking the same 1 lakh or any more than 1 lakh also from the shareholders, again here it is this 1 lakh rupees which is raised, it will be added as a asset, and also it is in the same case, it will be added in the shareholders equity. So every time it balances the changes. So if anything gets added here, it will also get added on the any of these sections. Either it will be coming under liability, or if it is coming from the shareholders point, then it will be added in the shareholders equity. So that means this is the very important point here for the balance sheet preparation. Okay. So every time it should be balanced with the assets and the total liabilities and the shareholders equity. So if you want to have some picture of that, I can share you. Okay, so if you see this sample picture, which explains the balance sheet information, like it is always balancing. Okay, it is always balancing complete assets on one side and on other side both liabilities and shareholders equity. So combinedly, it is balancing with the total assets. Okay, this is one of the sample or a simple picture which denotes the uh, information given by the balance sheet. Okay, so let me go back to the topic. So now I hope you understood what information we get from the balance sheet, that is assets, liabilities, and shareholders equity. Now let us go to one real-time example so that you will be understanding more on the balance sheet statement. So for example, I will go here. Okay, if I want to take a Dabur balance sheet. Okay, if I want to see the Dabur company balance sheet, okay, 2022, the latest one. One more point here, the same balance sheet information can be available from other sources also. Like if you see from money control also, we can see the balance sheet. Okay, if I click on here, from money control site also, it provides the balance sheet. And there are other sources also. You can view the balance sheet, but mostly here capital markets is a site which is providing balance sheet, and economic times also giving the balance sheet. But every time or most of the time prefer the actual company site only. So if you want to see the Dawar's balance sheet or any other financial statement or any other information about the company, prefer the actual company site, because there are the chances that some of the data might be missing here from the other sources, or it may be mistyped. So there are chances of miscalculation or something maybe missing at some places. So just to avoid all the uh, gaps, we can mainly focus on the company. Every company which is publicly traded will have their own site, website, where every investor or trader can go to that site and they can able to download the financial statement reports. Okay, I don't know why it is not working. So let me try the Dabur site first. Dabur Limited. Okay, let me go to any other company as an example. Okay, for example, if I go to Reliance, okay, Reliance balance sheet. Okay, I can take Reliance balance sheet, the latest one, 2021. So this one. So here, if you see, this is a Reliance website, and on the website they are providing annual report for the year 21-22, annual report for the year 2021, annual report for the next. So every year we can have one annual report and we can download here. In the same way, they will release the quarterly reports also. These are quarterly reports and the quarterly results. Okay. So for example, if I go to any of the quarterly report, I can go to annual report or quarterly report. Uh, but let me go to this report once. Okay, it opened. So now let me move down to the page where I can see the balance sheet information. Okay, Robert's to balance sheet. Okay. So let me find. Okay, balance sheet. Okay, let me go to annual report once. This is the annual report of the Reliance Industries. So I am trying to go to the page where we can see a balance sheet statement. Okay, this is financial highlights. Okay, so now here I found the balance sheet. So okay, so here this section is the balance sheet, and this is another statement, which is a profit and loss statement. So I will explain you about this in the next session, but our focus is on the balance sheet for the day. Okay, so let me zoom in so that you can able to view it clearly. Mm, zoom in. Okay, let me zoom in more. Fine. So, okay. Okay, I hope it is visible for you. So this is the balance statement or balance sheet of Reliance Industries as on 31st March 2021. So this is the latest balance sheet report from the last year. So if you see here, what we have mentioned in the notes, that the balance sheet provides us information about the assets, liabilities, and a shareholder's equity. So in the same way, if you see here, the higher level, at a higher level, we can see that balance sheet consists of an assets, okay, and equity, which is the shareholders' equity, and liabilities. Okay, so this is the higher level headings of the information, and if the main equation that which I have mentioned in the notes, that every time the total assets should be equal to total liability and the shareholders equity. So that means if I come to this assets section, total assets here, you can see for the 31st March 2022, the value is 8,78,674. Okay, and if I come down, total equity and liability, it is the same, 8,78,064. So if both the values are matching here, so they are balancing both. So here what is they are doing total equity plus liability. Same in the case for the last year also, 31st March 2021, total assets is 8,73,673, and total liability plus assets is 8,73,673. So it is balanced. So this is one of the reason why we call this statement as a balance sheet, because we are balancing both the assets and the liability shareholders equity equally. Okay, so now let me go in the information like what they are giving in the asset section. Okay, so in asset section, you are seeing a non-current assets, current assets. Okay, so this is the main non-current assets, and current assets are the information they are provided under asset section. So what is a non-current assets here? Non-current assets is something like any asset here which is mentioned under non-current, that asset will not be able to be converted into cash within 1 year. Okay, if any asset, uh, if you have able to convert it in less than 1 year, then it will be coming under current assets. So, for example, if I say, if you have a cash in hand, then that is a completely a liquid asset for you, so you can use it immediately also. Whereas if you have any inventory or stock here, it will be converted into cash in next 1 or 2 months. Like that, the assets which are not convertible to cash within 1 year, then they will be denoted as a non-current assets. And if any asset which can be converted into cash, okay, immediately or at max within 1 year, then it will be denoted under current assets. So what he's giving here in asset section, he's mentioning non-current and current assets. So non-current assets consist of properties, plants, equipments, because these are the main pillars of the company. So they will not be converted into cash. They will not be selling it. So they will be running the business based on this. So it will be coming under non-current assets, capital work in progress, intangible assets. Intangible assets is something like which is not visible or which is not physical. Okay, so intangible assets can be sometimes like patent rights also, sometimes the branded value also. So it will be non-physical, but still it is an asset to the company. Okay, and financial assets like investments, loans, and other financial assets are coming under non-current assets. Okay, and if you want to go in detail, like what all properties or what all plants or equipments these Reliance Industries have, in-depth information can be get from the notes. So here, if you see, the notes section is available here. So they are mentioning to get more details about this line of asset, then you can refer to the notes one. So same way capital working process, you can refer the same note. So all these 1, 2, 3, 4 assets information are denoted under notes with more information. Okay. So like that, we have non-current assets. So in current assets, as I mentioned, which can be converted into cash quickly within 1 year. So the inventories, investments, trade receivables means it is something like the bills which customers will have to pay to the company, and cash equivalent. This is completely cash, and loans given to other parties from the company. So they will be getting be repaid within 1 year, and other financial assets. So in total, so what is happening? Total non-current assets is 6,56,000 and total current assets is 2,22,000. Combining both non-current and current assets, we are getting total assets up to 8,78,674 for the year 2022. And now, if you see, if we compare with the previous year value of total assets, it is so 8,73,000. So there is an improvement or increase in the total assets by around 5,000. Okay. And if I come to the other sections like equity, this is the shareholders' equity actually. So what they mainly mention here is about the amount raised by the shareholding. So this is the amount that is raised from the shareholders. So it is 4,71,000 in the year 2022 and 4,74,000 in the year 2021. And coming to the liabilities, here also in under liabilities, you are seeing non-current liabilities and current liabilities. Same as assets. Okay. So what is non-current liabilities? The liability which takes more than 1 year to repay by the company. So any payment or any bills which company has to pay for more than 1 year, then it will be coming under non-current. And if any liability which can be paid immediately within 1 year, then it can be considered as a current liabilities. So non-current liabilities will be having a long-term loans or long-term debts for the company. So it will be borrowings, lease liabilities, other financial liabilities, provisioning. So all this comes under non-current liabilities, whereas the debts which are to be immediately paid by the company or within 1 year are coming under current liabilities, borrowings, lease liabilities, trade payables to micro and macro expenses. So in total, what we are observing here is from the balance sheet, we can get the financial information of the company on the specific date. So on this particular date, the financial uh, point of the Reliance Industries is mentioned in the balance sheet. Okay. By seeing this statement alone, you cannot justify or you cannot come to any conclusion whether it is in a good position or not. We cannot get into a clear opinion on that, because these are the values mentioned about the company. But to analyze more, we have financial ratios available. So what we do, there are financial ratios which we can try to uh, calculate from the values which are mentioned here and get some opinion on that. Okay. So financial ratios, why we need financial ratios? Um, these ratios will help us to understand the information given in the sheet or balance statement. So because by seeing directly, total assets is equal to 8,78,000. So we cannot understand or we cannot say that this value is good for the company or not. So to understand or to get a picture or about the state of the company, we will have some ratios on the information which they provided here. Okay, the main or important ratios which we can uh, get from the balance sheet is working capital. Okay, number two, current ratio. Number three, quick ratio. Number four, debt to equity ratio. Number five, debt to total assets. These are the main or important ratios which we can calculate from the balance sheet information. Okay, so let me tell you more about this. So what is the working capital ratio? So working capital ratio is equal to current assets. Okay, current assets minus current liabilities. Okay, so what this ratio is trying to give us information. Okay, so current assets minus current liability. So if I go here, what is the current assets value? Current assets here, total current assets is 2,22,398. Okay, let me add this. Total current assets equal to 2,23,000. 2 lakh, roughly I will take 23,000. Okay, 2,23,000 current assets minus what is the total current liability? Total current liability is 2 lakhs. Assume I'm taking a round figure. Don't worry. Just for simple calculation, I'm taking a round figure, whereas actually total liability is around 2 lakh 982. Okay, so I'm considering as 2 lakh for calculating it easily. So what this ratio is trying to find from these two values is when I subtract current assets from a current liability, I will get a value which is around 23,000. This means the company's ability to pay the current liabilities quickly. Okay, the more the value here, so more the value in this is more the current assets, more the ability of the company to pay the liabilities immediately. So if any unexpected issues comes, like for example, if any tsunami or any earthquakes or anything, any natural disasters happen, or if any pandemic situation comes up, then the company should be able to pay their liabilities or loans or debts immediately without any impact on the company performance. So this particular ratio is trying to find out the ability of the company. So that means to Reliance Industry is having 23,000 adequate amount, and they are able to pay the current liabilities immediately. Okay, if it is negative, in case if it is negative, then this will be a big problem to the company because they are unable to pay the liabilities because assets are lesser than the liabilities. So that means it will make a big problem or a big trouble to the company here. Okay, so this is one ratio where it is trying to find out the ability of the company to pay the current liabilities immediately and easily. And next ratio is current ratio, which is equal to current assets. Okay, current assets divided by current liability. Of course, here also a similar kind of information which we can get out of it. So the more the value, if it is more than one, if it is more than one and any value above one will be a benefit to the company because assets will be more and current liabilities will be less. So this is also a similar information which we get from the working capital. So both the ratios are trying to find out the ability of the company repayment of the current liability. And coming to the third one, quick ratio. Quick ratio is like you can say a cash plus cash equivalent assets. Okay, cash or cash equivalent. Cash equivalent means which can be converted into cash immediately. So cash equivalent divided by current liabilities. So what we are trying to understand from this ratio is this ratio is trying to tell that the company's ability to pay the current liabilities with this cash only. There will be other assets also in the asset section. There will be other assets also, but still its ability to pay the current liabilities with the cash available in their hands. So if it is having a more value, then it says more the value, more stronger the company. Right. So all the three ratios are mainly focusing on the company's ability to pay the liability, right? So if you observe clearly, working capital, current ratio, quick ratio, there three ratios are trying to find out the ability of the company to pay the current liabilities uh, in a easy manner. So the more the values for these ratios, more the stability or more the capability of the company to pay the liabilities. Okay, so less like that, we have another two ratios like debt to equity ratio, debt to total assets. So this is also like if I have a formula, if I want to give a formula, total liability divided by total shareholders equity. Okay, so what we are trying to get from this ratio is we are trying to observe the liability of the company. Uh, company, is it depending on the liabilities more or is it depending on the share equity more? So we can find out this. Like if it has the liabilities uh, value more, that means if the ratio is more than one, okay, assume that if it is ratio is more than one, then what happens here is liabilities are more compared to shareholders equity That means it will be a negative to the company financial level, because debt should always, the liability should always be less, and it will be very much better if it is less than one also. So this should be as less as possible, so that shareholders equity should always be more, so that they will be getting more benefit out of the company performance, instead of paying to the liabilities interest or debts. Okay, similarly, total here to debt to total assets, total liabilities divided by total assets. So this is trying to say that comparing the total liabilities with total assets. So this is also good if it is less than one, because if it is less than one, only the liabilities will be less compared to total assets. So which is good for the company. And if it is growing more than one, then that means the value of liabilities are more, total value liabilities are more compared to total assets, which makes the company performance downgrading. Okay, so these are the five main ratios, financial ratios, which we will try to calculate from the given balance sheet. Okay, so now what we do after calculating these values, we will get some value. Okay, here we are seeing 23,000. We have some greater than one, or greater than one, or greater than one. By seeing the values alone also, we cannot come to one conclusion. So it will be better, okay, because the ratios that we get from here, or the balance sheet information that they are providing here, it varies from company to company and sector to sector. Okay, so after calculating these values at a higher level, we'll come to know the state of the company, how it is performing, what is the level of current liabilities, and what is the capability of the company that can pay the liability. So we can understand at a higher level. But after knowing that information, the same kind of calculation should be done on the previous year values also. So the previous year information is also provided here. The same set of calculation or same set of values should be figured out from the previous year data, and we have to compare both the years values. So there should be a significant growth in these three ratios, and a significant downgrade in these two seconds, because these two should be as less as possible to make a company stronger, and these three should be as more as possible to company make the stability and the ability to pay the liability. So we have to compare the values that we are getting from the 2022 year and compare the value with 2021 year. With that, we'll understand the state and also the improvement of the company, right? And if we want to have more information, like how companies performing compared to other companies, then you can do the same calculation, same ratios of Reliance Industry for the year 2022, and you can compare the same 2022 data of other company balance sheet, calculate the same ratios and compare with that, so that we can get the idea of how Reliance Industry is performing compared to other industries in the same sector, or other companies in the same sector. Okay, so this is what we can do, or we can calculate from the balance sheet that any company provides us. I hope this is clear for you. Kindly let me know if you have any doubts, or if you want to get any more information on any particular section that I have provided you in this session. Kindly let me know in the comment section, so that I will be covering all the pending doubts or pending topics in detail in the next coming sessions. Thank you so much for watching the video. Yeah, thank you. Bye.